Hi everybody, and welcome to What's Cooking in Blackstone. This is a new program, a new venture that we're going to try out, and I'm Margot Beck, and this is
Lynn Warren.
And we're going to be making some favorite recipes, and today's recipe is going to be Cranberry Pistachio Biscotti.
Yum, yum.
And it's one of Lynn's favorites and also one of her dog's favorites, so we'll have to give credit to that. Now what I'm going to do is actually go through all the steps of preparing this. The first thing I do actually is to turn the oven on to 325. Okay, it takes a while for it to heat up, so I do that first. I have two cookie sheets here, and the reason why I have two, you will notice when I make this why I need it. The first one, and I use the baking sheets, wonderful, wonderful enhancement. And the second one, I make a line and cut it so that it'll fit in, and you will see during this process why I do this. So this is your second cookie sheet, which we will put aside for right now. And we will begin to make the biscotti. The one thing about biscotti, it's not very difficult to make, and the ingredients, not very many. It's the timing issue. It's always a timing issue. You can't leave your kitchen when you start this. You can do nothing. Now, what I did earlier is I put 1 stick of butter in the mixer to soften it, and it has got to be pretty soft. Now I will take 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and let's make sure I measure it out just right. And there we have 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I will put it in the mixer and put the blade in. I found this wonderful blade, by the way. It's a great blade. It has a spatula on the side, and it's a wonderful thing. Kind of like mixes it all together. Now I start that up on pretty high, and that has got to incorporate the sugar and the butter until it's a pretty smooth mixture. So we want to make sure that gets done. The next thing I do is I measure out my dry ingredients, and that will entail 2 cups of flour.
Now, Margot, do you always use the same type of flour or any
I think
type
you
of
can
flour?
use any kind of flour. I use white flour.
Okay.
I don't know if this recipe would actually come out that good if I used wheat flour.
Yeah.
But I've never tried it. It takes too long to put it together, and I'm not good at throwing things out because they didn't come out right once I know how to do it.
Well, I would eat it.
Yeah, I know you would.
I love biscottis. I love it.
So there's the 2 cups of flour. And the other thing that I always tend to do is my dry ingredients I put together, and then I sift them into a separate bowl so that I can get everything mixed together. And this calls for 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then 1/4 teaspoon each of salt, and baking soda. Just 1/4 teaspoon. Doesn't seem like it's much, and I wouldn't imagine it makes a lot of difference, but I guess it makes enough of a difference so that the biscotti comes out wonderfully. So you see, while that mixer is going, I can get going with this dry ingredient, and it comes out fairly quickly, so it's not a long process. There it falls all in. And there we have all the dry things together, which we will throw into the mixer. All right, so that's done. And from there, I put this over here. And that's coming along really nice. It's looking good. And then the other thing that I do to get ready for everything is to measure out the cranberries and the pistachios. So here we have 1 cup of cranberries. Sometimes they call them craisins. Sometimes they call them cranberries. And when I first started making this, I always, I didn't know about shelled pistachios, so I used to sit here, and my poor sister used to come over and spend, I can't tell you how long, and her fingers were always sore from shelling pistachios. And then I got smart, and Nick actually did a calculation for me because he's a number person, and he discovered that it was cheaper to buy this because I wasn't paying for the shells. So I was very happy with that. So we'll leave this right here for now. And I'm going to go over to the mixer and take this all with me. So this is looking pretty good now. And to that, I will add 2 eggs. Now, one thing I've always done with eggs too, because I've had a lot of problems with eggs in the past, I've sometimes just put the eggs in and I found out that one of the eggs wasn't good or something, and then I had to throw everything out. So now what I do is I break the eggs inside a little cup, make sure it's a nice happy egg and it doesn't have any problems, and incorporate them one at a time into this mixture.
Now, Margot, would it be easier just to put them all together and scramble them and throw them in? No?
No, it says, I think when you do a recipe, putting them in one at a time and incorporating them actually distributes them a lot better.
Better, yeah.
And
see, I would be doing the opposite. I'd throw it all in together.
Yeah, no, I've always done it. And I noticed a lot of the recipes that I've looked at say to incorporate them one at a time.
Gradually, yeah.
And then once that gets mixed, let's see, I'm coming along pretty good. Get that going. See, we're almost done, actually. I mean, that's how fast this goes together. It's not a tough thing to do. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Vanilla is wonderful.
That's my favorite.
Oh, isn't it great?
It's better than almond, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful thing. And now that's getting incorporated. And I do notice one thing too, a lot of times, it depends on the weather how moist or dry. The same amount of ingredients, but sometimes the dough comes out a little looser than others, probably when it's more humid out. Now that egg is all incorporated, the vanilla's all in there. I put this in like half at a time on low speed because I have made the mistake of putting it on high, and that's not very pretty either. It's all over the kitchen.
Explosion.
Okay, that's good. And that's that. So now I'm going to let that mix. I've got this all ready. The pans are ready. And the oven is warming up. And I think I've got just about all the ingredients. One thing I wanted to mention too, and I had shown this to Lynn when she first came in, when you get one of these flat cookie sheets, and I'll show you why I need a flat one for the first baking, as you put it. They sell them also that they're totally flat and they don't have rims on them like this one does. I got one of those. It's impossible to lift it up. It's impossible. I thought it would be easier because it was nice and flat, but for me anyhow, I need some kind of a ridge on it.
Is that why you gave him the other ones to me?
I'm giving you the other one, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is pretty well done. So we will just take that off. The magic to
Margot,
this, go ahead.
now you've made other stuff. Did you make like a chocolate chip one?
No, I've never done chocolate,
No.
although sometimes the recipe calls for you to drizzle white chocolate on this.
Oh no, I think that would ruin
I
this.
think that would just ruin it totally.
Yep.
It's,
The combination of the craisins and
Yeah.
the pistachio, it's just
it's wonderful.
yum.
I don't eat them.
Yeah, I know.
I
She
don't eat
makes
them.
these. She makes 1 billion a week.
Yeah.
And she doesn't eat
I
them.
never
and
eat
she
them.
feeds half a Blackstone. And I can't. You never tried it?
I had one years ago. I had one. I don't know why. I don't care
I can't resist them.
for it. But I love making it, even though it is really, this is the hard part. And I tried to do this, by the way, with the mixer, the pistachios, and that. What it does is it pulverizes the pistachios.
Oh, so it doesn't. Yeah.
That's not real pretty. So,
You need more muscle power.
no, I think
know
I'm
we got
good.
it.
Yeah, I know. Both of us mixing one mixer. So you just kind of roughly put it together. Now this is the fun part. This is the part that sometimes I dread because it's so wet it sticks to my finger. And the only way you can do this is with your hand. You've got to pound it out. So
Does it help if your hands are wet?
no, you don't want them wet.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
don't want
gosh,
them
no,
wet,
that
okay.
would be a disaster.
Oh, good. Good thing I'm not making
Because
them.
then you'd have to be putting your hands in the oven cook because it won't come off. So here we go.
See, I could eat that. I love those things.
Really?
Ugh.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Good thing I don't eat them because
Well, I'm well on my way of gaining 20 pounds after
Yeah.
eating all these.
my dear friend, who's no longer with us, but Margaret
Yeah.
Devlin, loved this biscotti. I would go up her house with a bag of biscotti, and dear Margaret would meet me at the door, and before we got into her living room, she was already eating it.
And before she left, they were all gone.
They were all gone, and she wanted to know if I was going to be bringing her more.
Yeah.
She was wonderful.
She loved them.
Yep, made her happy. So here we have a nice little blobby mess in the middle. Now, this is where you start doing the fun stuff.
You can get all your frustrations out.
Yeah, you get all your frustrations out on this biscotti.
Make believe it's something. Somebody,
Actually, you know what I'm going to tell you? This is like one of the best doughs I've made. It comes out in different consistencies today. This is perfect because sometimes I make it and I have a really hard time getting my hand away from it. But
Am I going to get this batch
I don't think
for
so.
being here? Yes, yes I am. Yes I am.
Okay, so here we go. It was just one of those things that a few years ago, my friend Kathy Burnett down the street came over, and her daughter had made some biscotti. And I tried one of those, and it was wonderful. And I said, oh, I normally don't like it because it's like eating a hard biscuit. But hers weren't. They were delicious. And I went, oh, that's a wonderful thing. As it happened, several months later, I was looking through a cookbook, and I saw a recipe for cranberry pistachio biscotti. And I said, well, maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I don't really know if I'll ever eat it, but I tried it. And you know what? They come out just the right consistency, but it's all in the timing. It is like you cannot leave the kitchen. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything because once the initial 25-minute period is over at 325, then it's a matter of timing. You take it out, you put it on a cooling rack for 5 minutes. Then after the 5 minutes, you take a serrated knife and you cut it into the shapes you want. Then you take those shapes, transfer them to a sheet, the other cookie sheet, which is this one, a standard one with sides. And you have to line them up on their sides. And then you put it in the oven for 8 minutes. You got to take it out again. And you have to flip them all over. And for another 8 minutes, put it back in the oven. So it's one of those things that, and you know, it's only 2 steps afterwards. But there have been times when I was like, now, was that the first time I put it in or the second time I put it in? Because if you've got other things going on, then you're like, oh my goodness, what did I just, did I forget or did I do it too many times? And it's really hard to tell. So
too labor intense for me.
Yeah, it's rather labor intensive.
Yeah, too labor
A funny
intense.
story, my niece, Casey, is down at NYU, and she has a small apartment in New York, and it's a very small apartment. And she wanted to make this, and I said, well, Casey, the one thing you have to always remember, please, is once you make it, you cannot leave the kitchen. And she said, Aunt Margot, if I was in my living room, my bedroom, or my bathroom, I'm still in the kitchen because it's one room. There's nowhere to go.
That's in New York.
She's got the perfect setup for making biscotti.
That's funny.
So that's how college students are. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and it's going to cook. Should be heated up very soon now. As soon as the light goes off, for 25 minutes. I will wait until it's done. But in the meantime, I thought, while I'm doing this show, every month different people will come on and make different recipes. How nice would it be if we kind of spotlighted something in town, a business that someone has or whatever, not to promote it per se, but just to let people know that there are things in town. I know that there's a lot of businesses that I see that I don't even know we had. And I thought since Lynn was going to be here anyhow, that she would be the first person to talk about her Victorian hideaway bed and breakfast. And it's an amazing thing because all these years that I've known you, And I never even thought to ask, how did she start this thing? I mean, I knew it was Chip's family home, his parents' home.
That's right.
But he lived there. You didn't live there all the time.
No, they both passed away, and then the house was left to him and his brother, and then we lived there, and then we had apartments on the second and third floor, and then after that, you know, the tenant scene, Chip got sick of that. He's a painting contractor, so every time he'd go in and clean, you know, and paint. So this one time, it was actually his idea. I know it's hard to believe, Chip.
I know, this is a great idea, Chip.
Yeah, and he said, you know what? He said, it'd be nice to have a bed and breakfast. And I'm like, you know, they were big out in Europe, but they weren't so much here. I mean, I've been doing this, we opened 1997, April of 1997.
I know, I can't believe
Me neither.
Yes, yeah.
And it was like, we didn't know how it would fly, and it's been fun.
Yeah, tell them about your initial thing when you had the open house.
We had an open house. It was in April, and it was like I had some of my girlfriends. They were the ushers, and they were meeting people at the door. It's a big old Victorian house, and so we had no idea how many people were going to show up. Over 300 people came. I mean, there was a line down the driveway onto Mendon Street. It was wild. It was fun. It was really a great experience.
But who would have thought 300 people were going to show up for that?
You'd be surprised. People are very interested in bed and breakfasts.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of people have said, oh, I always wanted to do that. And I said, well, be prepared to be Hazel the maid, because that's what you are, you know. But it's fun, and it's really a hobby for my husband and I. So,
Many times I've called her up and said, what are you doing this morning? I'm changing sheets on the bed. Yeah. I'm running upstairs. I got to put new towels up. Oh, I got to go to the store. She goes to BJ's and makes a run. Her entire car is full of all kinds of little cookies and goodies and drinks and things like that. And she stocks it up there, and it's just a wonderful thing.
It's been fun. It really has been. We've had a, you know, it's not our main, you know, business, but it's a good little side thing. Yeah. Yeah, I've met a lot of wonderful people. When the power plants were being built. Oh yeah. I mean, it was like a frat house at my house. I had all the guys living there. It was wonderful. And it was so funny because a lot of them were Southern, and they started cooking for me. Oh yeah. So I got, chicken fried steak and gumbo and all that. It was it was good. It was fun.
Wow. Did they do that slow roasting too? You know, they brisket.
No, they never did that. They made something called dirty rice. I don't even know what was in it, and I don't want
dirty rice.
He called it dirty rice. I don't know what was in it, and I didn't ask, but it was good. It was really, really good.
It was very good. Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing. And I know that there's 3 others in the area or something like that.
Roger Bouchard, he's a he's an owner of a B&B. It's called the Pillsbury House, and that's a nice Victorian house,
that's
too.
In Woonsocket,
That's in Woonsocket, but there was another one in Blackstone. They went out of business. Actually, when I first opened, we there was like 6 of us that were in business, and now I'm like the lone stand.
You're it.
I'm the one that's only standing right now.
Wow. But you know what? It has its ups and downs. You've noticed that in the past few years it was
very slow. But this year, however, it was good. It was very, very good. Yeah. And I thought I'd have more like around the leaf peeping season, but not too much. Summer was good. August was wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So and we close in the end of November because the heating bill is astronomical. Astronomical. I'd have to charge $500 a night or something like that. But
and that's if everybody stayed in one room.
In one room together, right? But it's fun. It's a fun thing. Yeah.
And one of the things that you do is she makes this great parfait. Now, I'm the type of person that I don't
what's in it? What's in it? Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that. I don't eat that. And she's like, just try it. And I'm like, oh, I don't like nuts in my food. And I don't like this and that. And I don't like honey. And I don't like this. Well, Lynn did it.
It's a breakfast parfait.
Yeah. And so you can tell them that.
I'll tell you this thing a little bit about that. It's very easy, and it's really, really yummy. And I don't tell my guests what's in it. I just say guess.
Because they might say,
I don't want it. But I always serve it in like a champagne glass. It looks just so classy.
How pretty that is.
And I take a good tablespoon of ricotta cheese, And then I take, I like the whipped vanilla yogurt. It's really, really good. You can use any type of vanilla yogurt. And I take a big heaping thing here.
Now, you don't mix those together?
No, you don't mix them together. The secret is not to mix them together.
It is? Oh.
Yeah, and then...
Well, how do you get all the flavors to come together if you don't mix it?
When you put it in your mouth.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then I use almonds or walnuts or pecans or anything, so I sprinkle that on top. And believe it or not, I mean, this is really a delicious breakfast, and it's high in protein if people are, the health conscious people. Very high in protein, and it stays with you. It stays with you a long time. And then I just drizzle a little bit of honey on it, and then there it is. But I haven't, not one of my guests that have stayed did not like it. Everyone loved it. It's like, what is it? And it's really yummy. And sometimes it's a breakfast thing, but I sometimes have it for dessert. I'll serve it to Chip for dessert.
Yeah.
So this one's for Margot.
Now I have to eat it.
You have to eat it.
Oh, but I'm sure I'll like it.
It's so good.
It is. It is very refreshing, even for someone like me who doesn't. I think this morning when you said you're going to make it and you needed whipped cream, I was like, oh, no, I don't remember there being whipped cream in it. She's like, oh no, she's going to go crazy over the whipped cream.
Again, it really is healthy, but it doesn't taste healthy. That's the nicest thing about it. And probably if people are counting their calories, it's probably like it's like probably 240 calories. And it's a great breakfast, and it stays with you. So everyone's liked it. I like it.
Mm. It's funny, too. I was thinking about when we were going to be doing this show, I was thinking of my sisters, who many of them are very good cooks. Of course, I'm Armenian, so you know what we have. We have pilaf, and we have...
I love her pilaf. It's so yummy.
All that good stuff. One of my sisters makes excellent baklava. Actually, a couple of them do. And I've never learned the fine art of making that. And a few years ago, one of my sisters said, I'm going to make yalanchi sarma.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh, the grape leaves.
The grape leaves. I had everybody over here. Patty Vilnet was here. Lynn was here. I mean, we had a bunch of people here. So we went and got all these grape leaves, and when you have to pick those grape leaves, they have got to be nice and tender and young. So here we are, we've got this thing all set up, and we've got this pan back here, which I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a massive pan. We're gonna load that up with the yalanchi sarma. Well, my sister, this was the first time she had made such a big batch of it. So she says, well, I know one thing we have to do. After we all rolled it, we spent hours rolling this thing. It's a rice mixture with parsley, and there's no meat in it. And we did that, and we got them all inside that pan. There must have been like 200 yalanchi sarmas in there. And I'm lifting this pan up. It weighs a ton. And she comes over and pours all this water in it. Now it weighs more than a ton. And then she said, oh, you got to squeeze all these lemons. So here we are, squeezing lemons, and we put it all over it. And we boiled it. So she says, now it's got to sit here overnight. And I'm like, wow, I don't remember leaving it overnight like that. I mean, it's summer and it's going to get like all crummy. Well, we did. We did exactly what she said. Well, she had that mixed up with some of the recipe, I think. Oh. And the next day, we're spooning it out, and nobody wanted to eat it. It was horrible. And we were all sitting here trying to be kind, and how do you not eat 200 yalanchi sarmas? So we kind of like just...
it was horrible.
Yeah, we didn't do very well with it. And she kindly left it with me. She said, you can have them all. And I went, thank you very much. So I think they were out. I threw them out. One of the things that Nick tells me is when something that I make is bad, he takes it and he throws it out into the woods, and he'll say, now I know I'm going to go out there in the spring, and even the wild animals aren't going to eat that. I made him a tofu burger once, and he tried to eat it. He's really a gallant man when it comes to food. He'll eat almost anything. Well, he tried and tried. He says, you know what? This is like eating a brick. He said, I've never had anything like this before. What is it? And I said, it's a tofu burger. And he goes, well, something's wrong with it. It's just just isn't right. And I was like, well, I don't know. It should be all right. Well, of course, I wasn't going to eat it because I tried it. It was terrible. So I put it in a bun. I put lettuce, tomato, onions, and all kinds of good stuff on it. And he's there trying to eat it. Well, he got about 2 mouthfuls. He's like, I can't. He says, usually I tell you it's okay, but don't make it again. This one, I'm just going to tell you, please don't make it again.
Ever again.
And he took it out, and he threw it out in the backyard over here. And it was in the middle of winter. It was January. And he says, well, for sure, something's going to come by that's hungry and eat it. I mean, it's winter. Well, guess what? It snowed out. And in the spring, he's out there. And guess what was out there? The tofu burger was still there.
They didn't even want it. Not even the wild animals.
The only thing gone was the bread and the tomato and the lettuce. But they ate everything but that tofu burger.
Ugh.
So that is one thing that Nick does not eat, but he's pretty good about everything else, as Chip is too.
He is too. He eats anything.
Pretty good.
But we like to cook though. We experiment. We exchange recipes. All the time, and it's fun.
Yeah, cooking is fun.
It is fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to develop a liking for.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it doesn't really matter. You could care
Although my
less.
daughter's a good cook, and she always liked cooking.
Yeah.
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 Matter of fact, my crepe recipe is her recipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Delicious.
Wow.
Delicious.
And the next time we're on, by the way, and I just had a sample of this because Lynn made it because Wendy had a special request for it, Lynn's daughter. She wanted her mama's spaghetti sauce. Oh, she makes the best spaghetti sauce. And she's got a new way to do it now, too, which is...
it's an additive. It's a stuffed meatball, and it's a surprise in the middle. Maybe down the road we'll go over that someday. But
that'll be her next time we do this.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Everybody likes spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
my favorite.
Love it. Oh.
She could eat pasta 7 days a week.
Yep.
7 days a week.
Yep. I could. If it's pasta, I'll eat it.
Even Chef Boyardee. She's eating out of the can.
I'm going, Chef Boyardee, spaghetti and meatballs. Isn't that awful? But I love it.
The meatballs, they're not even meat. I don't know what they are.
I don't eat those.
Oh no, you throw them outside to the poor animals.
Yeah,
they don't even eat them. They don't even eat them.
What you do is you put the meatball in your mouth and you take all the sauce off and then you spit the meatball out. And then you get rid of the meatball. But the spaghetti, it's really good.
It's disgusting. It's gross.
Oh no, it is wonderful. I mean, nobody can understand that, but really.
And here she is. She's a gourmet cook, and sometimes she's in here eating that. What are you doing eating that? That's gross.
Yeah. But my sister Alice now takes the meatball. Of course, I don't put them in my mouth and suck off the sauce.
Really?
I just give her the meatballs.
Really?
And she takes them home and she eats them because she likes them. So
it's mystery meat. It's not even meat.
So you see, there's always something you can do with something when you're cooking.
I know.
I had a recipe once. We got like 15 minutes. One time I had a recipe from the church that I went to. They had this wonderful cookbook that they put out. And there was a thing called a monkey cake. Well,
monkey bread or cake?
No, this was a monkey cake.
That doesn't sound good.
So I had company coming over and I said, wow, I'm going to make this monkey bread or monkey cake.
Monkey cake.
So I made the monkey cake. Well, the monkey cake never cooked. I cooked it and I cooked it. The thing baked and baked and baked. It was only supposed to bake about a half an hour. Well, that thing must have been in for an hour and a half. And I went, it's like turning black and the inside is still all mucky.
What did you do wrong?
I don't know what I did wrong. So I, of course, threw it out. I sent Nick somewhere to go get something real quick. And so a year later, am I not looking through the same cookbook? And I had company coming and I went, oh, I remember making monkey cake. I think I'm going to try it again. So what did I do? I made it again, according to that recipe. And once again, I had this thing that it actually kind of congealed, but it weighed like a ton. Ugh. It was something about that cake was not, it was a monkey cake.
Why did you try it again?
I couldn't remember that it was really bad. I just remembered that I made it. So here I am. So about 4 years ago, I was looking through that recipe book and I came across monkey cake. I went, oh, there's that monkey cake. I took a great big red magic marker and I went, put a big X in it. Do not make this cake. It was terrible.
When I have disasters, I just throw the recipe away.
You do?
So you won't make it again.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm bad with meat. I'm not a good meat cooker.
Why don't you tell Mom she can't make meatballs? She loves spaghetti and meatballs, but she can't touch the hamburgers. She has to hire people or have me come in or some random person off the street to form the meatballs because she will not touch the meat.
No, that's right.
You have issues.
I go pick up my sister and make her come over and make them. I'll put all the stuff together and everything, but I don't want to touch it, even if I have gloves on.
You have issues.
I'm not a good meat person. When I first married Nick, I was so happy I was going to make a barbecue here. And, well, we went to make a barbecue outside. I had never made chicken in my life, and I wanted to barbecue chicken. I don't eat chicken. I don't even go near chicken, but everybody wanted chicken. Or turkey. So I put it in aluminum foil, and I put it in the grill. So I have no idea how long this stuff is supposed to cook. And I had it on there, and actually it was Tom and Donna came over. Nick's brother and sister-in-law were sitting out at the picnic table, and everybody got their plates in front of them, and they got their salad and everything else. So I go over to the grill with these things, and I pick up a package for each person, put it on their plate. Well, they opened up the aluminum. It was nothing but charcoal.
Oh. How long did you cook it?
Hours. I think hours. I didn't know how you cook chicken. So I put it in. Well, Tommy opens up his thing and goes, is there supposed to be something in here? Is this a surprise? I went, oh yeah, it's a surprise. And Nick goes, what is this? So he had to go to the market and get some hot dogs. And I grilled them real quick. So if I invite you over for meat.
No, forget it.
Be very careful, or else ask who's coming to actually cook the meat. Because I'm not very good at it.
I know. But everything else you make is good.
Yeah.
You make that shrimp soup. It's beginning to get to soup season and stews and casseroles. Yeah. She makes this killer shrimp.
It's black bean, corn, shrimp soup.
It's such a great flavor. What's the spice that you use in there? What's the herb? So good on a cold, frigid day.
I have the recipe here, but
it's so good, and she serves it. She's so nice. She's going to claim me as a dependent because I come over here she'll say, you want to come for lunch? Okay, I'm there. I'm there. So I'm there all the time for lunch. But she makes that soup, and that's.
Oh, tell them about the tuna. How I do tuna now.
Oh,
I have a new way to do tuna.
I don't know where she got this idea, but she decided to cut, nice tuna, the white tuna, and she doesn't do the cans. She does the ones in the bags, the pouches, and she actually puts craisins in there, raisins, and nuts.
No, just the craisins.
No nuts, just the craisins.
I put celery.
Celery, no onions, because I don't like onions. But that combination is delicious.
Yeah, for some reason, the craisins work with tuna.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just one of those enlightenments. You're standing around the kitchen one day and you go, why don't I try to put this in there? And it really worked.
It was delicious.
Wow.
It was absolutely delicious. That combination is you got the sweet craisins, and you got the little salty, tuna, and she puts just enough mayo, and it was delicious. You can have it on a salad, or you can put it on, a sandwich. It's delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's healthy too.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
It's healthy.
And you can put it on anything. So I love doing creative stuff like that.
Weird things.
But we do. You know what it is? We kind of like bounce it off each other, and if it's bad, well,
we just throw it in the trash.
Throw it away. I try to do it secretly so Nick doesn't know I'm wasting it. Or I give it to the chickens.
Well, Chip, my husband eats anything, really. He very, very rarely complains about anything I cook.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Yeah, he'll eat anything. He'll try anything. He'll eat anything.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Good thing.
Because his choice is what I made or nothing.
Right.
So there's not a whole lot of area. And also one of the things that we want to do is, I have all these wonderful cooks who want to come on the show.
Yeah.
Patty Villeneuve's mother, Jackie Tebow. She makes to die for cabbage soup. It is so good. As a matter of fact, when the show is over, I'm going over to Patty's and I'm getting
I'm going
to
then. I don't care if I'm not invited. I'm going to.
So I'm going to get that. She makes wonderful. And I had her actually come over here once, and she made it, and she makes a big pot of it. But a lot of the cooks from years ago, like even my mother and stuff, when they cook, nobody had a recipe.
And they don't measure anything.
No.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah. I mean, my mother couldn't even read or write, so there was no way she could get a recipe because it didn't matter. But, she made all this great stuff, and I can remember being in school saying, boy, I wish I could be like other kids and have canned soup. I always have to have the soup that they made at home. I had no clue whatsoever. that this stuff I was eating was so wonderful. You know, we'd go pick it out of the gardens, and
right. But when you're a kid,
we didn't know. I thought it was so fancy to have canned soup, and back then your choice was tomato or chicken noodle, or chicken
rice,
and I didn't eat that then either. It was a tough childhood growing up because every Sunday was chicken and pilaf, and guess what?
Yeah,
I ate pilaf.
Yeah, and you had a big family, 13.
Yeah, 13. I was the youngest of 13, so you either ate what was there,
or don't eat.
There wasn't anything extra, and there were no desserts. We never had a dessert.
Oh, I'd die without dessert.
Yeah.
I love desserts.
Yeah, we didn't have desserts.
I know.
But I do remember my brother Pete and my sister Shirley. This is like reminisce time, going back into the old days. Speaking of, I am 5.5 years younger than my sister Shirley. And then everybody after that point was like a couple years apart. And so on Saturdays, we had one thing. My mother used to always have Ritz crackers, and we used to call them Ritzies. So she used to hide them in a cupboard in the back because they would be gone in about a minute with all the vultures there. So we would run from my porch. I grew up in Northbridge, and my yard was a long yard, and there was a fireplace way down the other end, and we had to run around that fireplace and come back to the porch. Well, whoever got back, the first two who got back to the porch got to have a Ritzy cracker. So we'd all start off together. Well, I was 3. You know, they were like 7.
So you never got any, right?
I never got a Ritzy.
Oh, you poor thing.
I'd be running and they'd be on their way back, and I hadn't gotten to the fireplace yet. And I go, it's not fair. And I think once Shirley actually felt bad and gave me a half a Ritzy.
Oh.
And I thought that was a great thing. And you know what? When I remind them of it now, they don't remember it. They don't remember doing that. Yeah. They don't remember being bad.
Being cruel to their little sister.
Gosh. And getting back to the Victorian bed and breakfast. Yeah, the hideaway. It's a wonderful piece of history because that house was built in the 1800s, right?
I think it's 1896. There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, and someone said it might even be earlier than that.
Could be. I should really research it, but somebody told me that it was like 1896. Actually, the mill owners, the Blackstone cotton mill, where Tupperware was.
Yeah.
And then, they built 3 big Victorian houses for their superintendents.
Right on Menden Street?
Right on Menden Street. And then before that, for their department heads, there's people that live in Blackstone that know the history. The brick block on Menden Street was all that long brick block. That was for the department heads of the Blackstone cotton mills. So there's a lot of history.
Yeah.
A lot of history.
And didn't some lady that actually lived there before Chip's parents come by once?
She did.
That is so wonderful.
Mrs. Parody came by. She had a driver. She was quite old by then, and she owned the house. I don't know, probably, I'm not sure. Probably in the 70s and 60s, maybe in the 60s. And she was the first person in Blackstone to have an in-ground pool. And she used to. It's
still there actually.
It is
in
there,
the woods.
In the woods, right? And Mrs. Parody owned a furniture store, and the people that know Blackstone, they'll probably remember. And she was a very, very charming lady. And she stopped by. I think she's since passed on. Aww. But she stopped by one time when Chip was working out in the yard. And she pulled up, and it was a big old Cadillac, and somebody was driving her. It was like driving Miss Daisy, you know. And she got out, and she just looked, and she's going. So Chip went over, and she said who she was, Yvonne Parody, and she said, I lived here, and he goes, I know you did, right? And so, yeah, they had a nice conversation, but he says, would you like to come in and tour the bed and breakfast? And she said she really couldn't go up the stairs or anything, but she loved what we did with the house.
Aww.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah. And it's amazing too because the pool that was there was really way
in the back,
away from the house.
Way in the back.
I wonder how did she have that plumbed up to the house to fill it? How did they do that?
Who knows what they did back then? I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
And these beautiful granite posts all over the place. I mean,
yeah, they're still there.
Yeah.
But we have the crew house, which Chip calls the crew house. That's that's the original. That was her cabana or whatever, because the pool was like way in the back, and in the middle where we have the crew, avenue pool.
Yeah.
That's the original.
So she had to walk all the way from there to the pool, which is way down over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I should really research it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot of history.
A lot of history. And when it was a one-family house, not her, but the people that probably the superintendents of Blackstone Cotton Mill, the third floor is where the servants lived.
And that's really nice up there.
It is nice. And you have a beautiful view of everything. Like you go upstairs on the third floor, you can see the river. I mean, right now it's beautiful with the trees and everything. It's just I don't even have to turn the light on. Yeah. Because the trees are so bright, you know, orange and red and yellow. It's beautiful. Yeah. Really, really nice. And pretty soon you're going to be able to walk down to that bike path. The bike path. Yeah. You know, we were talking about what's cooking in Blackstone. That's a major thing that's happening. They're right off of Mendon Street right now, and I didn't know this, but I was told a couple weeks ago that the railroad tracks did go right through. You know where Rocky's Family Grocer is? Oh yeah. There were railroad tracks there. That went through the building? Went on the side. So, oh wow. Yeah, so they're digging it up now, and they're there now, and they're as far as Main Street. So there's going to be a little bridge built over Main Street. They're not going to use the existing bridge that's there? Well, there's the abutments are there, but they have to use a new bridge. Oh, that's right, too. Right, and it'll go over, but they're coming, they're right now, they're at the Federated Church, and they're you know, doing all the construction there, and that's going to be like a tunnel. I know you don't like tunnels, but... Yeah, I know. But then that's going to end up on Main Street, so it's going to be quite the path. I can't wait. It's going to be great for Blackstone because it's going to be good for all the businesses. Yes. You know, biking, walkers, and everything. It's going to be a great thing. I don't know when it's going to be completed. I would say it might be done by next spring. But it's a nice job they've done so far, isn't it? On a bridge lower down and everything. It's beautiful. it's breathtaking. We don't have to go up to north. You know, we don't have to go north to see. It's beautiful. Yeah. 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 And that's going to connect to Rhode Island, right? Yeah, it's going to connect. Right. Somehow. Well, they've already where the old train station is. That they're already building there. Yes. And then that will go down. That's over St. Paul Street. Right, Canal Street, and then into Woonsocket. So it's going to be nice. I'm excited about it. Yeah. And we all should be, because it's going to be a good boost for all the people, all the businesses in Blackstone. You know, people want to eat, they want to do things. Right. You know, they want, you know, park and shop, everything. You know, it's going to be a really good thing. And it's going to span the length of Blackstone, so it's not like it's just going to hit one little corner and exit. It's going to go right through Blackstone. So actually, from one end to the other, there will be footpaths and whatever. Yep, and bikes. So it's really, really a nice thing. I can't wait. Eventually, I don't know when that's ever going to happen. It's Worcester to Providence, they said. So well, it'll be like the Providence to Bristol one. Right. I'll probably be in a wheelchair by then. I can just wheel down Mendon Street and get on the path and go. Chip and I have been going on the Woonsocket one. Yeah. And that's really beautiful. We have really enjoyed that. The scenery is outstanding. Except when you got lost. Except when I got lost. I went How do you get lost on a bike trail? I went the wrong way. Poor Chip couldn't find me. He was worried because he's going, how am I going to tell? How am I going to tell Not Nick? No, not Nick will be mad, but how am I going to tell Lynn, right? I lost Margot. Can't find her. And I was going down this highway. Well, I don't know how I got off the bike path, but all of a sudden I noticed you were on 126 or whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah, down here, in Hope. Yeah, I'm going. This great big road opens up, and I went, wow, this is a big bike path over here. Look at it. It's got a double yellow line right down the middle. And then I'm noticing there's nobody else on this bike path but me. And then I look up and I notice cars are coming down. I went, oh no, this is a road. So I turned around and went back, and I saw some man walking. Now, if you can believe this, I asked him, I said, can you tell me where the bike path is? Where's the bike path, she says. And he turns around and he goes, right there. And I went, oh, I went off the wrong path. I don't know how I did it. I still don't know how I did it, but and poor Chip by now had already... Yeah, he's riding up and down like, oh my God. And then he saw some strange looking man coming out of the woods. He's going, oh no. Yeah. He says, I got to go find Margot. Did you see anybody with a bright yellow shirt? Of course, when she gets on her bike, she's got bright colors, like bright iridescent green and yellow. So he stopped this random man. He goes, did you see a lady with bright green helmet and bright green shoes, you know, sneakers and everything? He's there like, no. So he was worried, but he found her, and yeah, he did. Yeah, he yelled at her, and that was that. Yeah, he did yell at me. Yeah,
of course, he was beet red. He had been running like crazy trying to find me. Now, let me tell you what I did here.
It smells so good. I could eat this
right
now.
This is baked to perfection. And now it has, this is one of those timing things now. The 5-minute time, I set the timer. So you wait 5 minutes before you cut it, because if I cut it now, it'll just all fall apart. So I keep it up on a rack just to let some air get at it. And once this is cooled, I will slice it down the middle, and then you go across like this, and you do all these cuts. Then you take second cookie sheet, and second cookie sheet now will receive on its side all the biscotti, one by one by one, lined up here on its side. And then you put that in the oven for 8 minutes. After 8 minutes, you take it out of the oven, you put it back on the cooling rack, and while it's on the cooling rack, you flip every piece over, cut side up, so that now you will put it back in the oven for another 8 minutes. This is why you never leave the kitchen for the time it's cooking. You have got to stay with it. And then once you take it out for that last 8 minutes, you are golden. It is...
Now, could I eat that now?
I don't think so. I think you'd probably like burn your tonsils.
No, but is it cooked? Like once it cools off,
I think it probably is cooked. I think what it is, it doesn't have that fine crust. Oh. Now this biscotti isn't like some biscotti I've had are actually like you can crack them like this and they're hard as a rock.
Yeah, no, yours are not like that.
This is not hard biscotti, and it's very good, I guess. I don't know because I don't need it.
I can't believe you.
But to have like with a cup of tea or
anything, tea, coffee, milk, hot cocoa, wine. I mean, it goes with everything. It's wonderful.
Don't dunk it in your spaghetti sauce, though.
No. That's pushing it. But it does go with everything. You know, it's good with milk. It's, you know, oh.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I want a piece of it now.
It just starts to brown on the edges, and that's when you know it's done and it's good to go.
So now you're going to cut?
So now I am going to, in 2 minutes, take it and cut down the middle. And what I've done lately too, you perfect these things as you go along, and you notice you do things a little better every time you do it. It's hard because it's not a perfectly aligned piece of thing. So I score it just to see where I'm going to be, because I have done it like this, and I've come out with little pieces here and big pieces there.
Those are the ones that I get, right?
Those are the ones you get. Nick gets in his lunch.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't care. Nick always has these in his lunch.
I don't care.
And actually, in order to cut it, you have to take it off the cooling rack.
Okay.
Because it's too hard to do. And this is another reason why you don't bake it initially in something that's got sides, because you'll notice that when I do cut it, I need the opening on each side. It would be impossible. I'd have to be cutting it like kind of up on an angle.
Much easier to cut this.
Much easier to cut it this way. So I can push this over here and put this down. And it actually, the granite is very cool too, which helps a lot.
Yep.
So let's see, what have I got? Okay, so I can start to cut this. Now I'm going to show you how this goes. And you got to kind of make sure it separates, because if it doesn't, you end up pulling it apart. Now this part and the other thing, you have to use a long knife, because if you don't, you have to keep going back and cutting it as you're pulling it off. So here I am, I'm cutting it.
Doing good.
Yeah. I try to get it as consistent as I can.
No, you're doing a good job.
And that's that. Now, and I don't do the end pieces, but this is what you do. Like this, This is, and it's hot. So you have to have it only in your hands for a very short time. The second time I do it, when I take it out of the oven, I try to do 2 at a time, which sometimes is and sometimes isn't very successful. And by the way, Nick likes eating the scraps. He likes taking all the little pieces. So there. So you see, if you want to do biscotti, or if you want to come here and tell me you really need biscotti and you're not able to do it, and if I have mercy on you,
Margot will.
Yeah, that's all set.
Okay.
I will have mercy on you and make you a batch. But it's.
You've made made thousands of people
I have
in
made
Blackstone.
thousands. They've been all over the place.
Everywhere.
So now this will go into the oven again. And that will be 8 minutes. And that should take care of our biscotti. So I guess that's it. You're gonna eat that?
I'll eat those.
Okay. Maybe Paul and Ashley would like some.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us today. And we've enjoyed doing this show. I'm sure we'll perfect it as we go along.
We'll get better.
This is our first try at it. But thank you so much. Thank you to Paul and Ashley for being here today and helping us. And thank you to everybody for watching it. And just remember, it's what's cooking in Blackstone.
Right. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Thank you.